The world of high finance is built on trust. Trust in banks, trust in corporations, trust in the movement of money across borders. But beneath this pristine facade lies an invisible underworld, a hidden economy that operates in the shadows, moving trillions of dollars every year. This is the world of money laundering, where drug cartels, corrupt politicians, and organized crime syndicates wash their illicit gains, transforming dirty money into assets that appear completely legitimate. The process is intricate, highly sophisticated, and shockingly common. And at the center of it all are three primary industries that facilitate the process: real estate, casinos, and shell companies. But hiding dirty money isn't as simple as stuffing stacks of cash into a suitcase. Criminals need a system, one that's complex enough to evade detection yet seamless enough to move billions without raising suspicion. That's where money laundering comes in. It's a financial shell game designed to obscure the origins of illicit funds, breaking the trail between crime and profit. Drug lords, corrupt politicians, and fraudsters alike rely on this process to turn their illegal earnings into seemingly legitimate wealth, allowing them to spend freely without fear of authorities tracing the money back to its criminal roots. The most effective laundering schemes exploit industries where vast amounts of money change hands quickly. Real estate, for example, has long been a favorite tool for criminals looking to clean their cash. Dirty money is funneled into high-value properties, luxury condos, mansions, or entire apartment complexes, often bought through anonymous shell companies. Once the property is sold, the proceeds appear legitimate, providing a clean slate for the once tainted funds. In some cases, these properties are deliberately left empty, not as investments, but as vessels for moving illicit money across borders without triggering alarms. Money laundering is not just an abstract concept reserved for Hollywood crime dramas. It is a real and thriving industry that fuels everything from human trafficking to terrorism. The scale is staggering. Estimates suggest that anywhere from $800 billion to $2 trillion is laundered annually, equivalent to about 2 to 5% of the global GDP. And yet, for most people, this dark economy remains invisible, hidden behind the loopholes of financial systems designed to catch it. To understand how criminals clean their money, it's important to first grasp the three stages of money laundering: placement, layering, and integration. Placement is the initial step, where illicit funds enter the financial system. This could be cash from drug sales, bribery, arms trafficking, or tax evasion. Once inside the system, the layering process begins. Money is moved through complex transactions, shell companies, and offshore accounts to obscure its origins. Finally, the funds are integrated back into the legal economy, appearing as legitimate earnings that can be spent freely without raising suspicion. One of the most effective ways to clean dirty money is through real estate. High-end properties in global cities like New York, London, Vancouver, and Dubai have become prime targets for money launderers. Criminals purchase luxury apartments and mansions using anonymous shell companies or cash transactions, making it nearly impossible to trace the true owner. The lack of transparency in real estate markets allows money to be funneled through multiple entities, hiding its criminal origins. Take the case of the Panama Papers, a massive leak of 11.5 million documents exposing offshore accounts linked to politicians, celebrities, and criminals. Among them were individuals who had used shell companies to purchase properties in major cities, effectively turning their illicit wealth into legal assets. In places like London's Kensington and New York's Manhattan, entire streets are lined with luxury apartments owned by unknown entities, often left vacant as financial safe havens rather than actual homes. The Vancouver model is one of the most infamous real estate laundering schemes. In this system, organized crime groups, particularly from China, move illicit funds through underground banking networks and use those funds to purchase high-value properties. The money is often sourced from narcotic sales, primarily the deadly opioid fentanyl, which has fueled North America's drug crisis. Once the property is purchased, it can be sold or rented, effectively converting drug profits into clean capital that can be reinvested anywhere in the world. Casinos offer another perfect loophole for criminals to clean their money. In major gambling hubs like Macau, Las Vegas, and Monte Carlo, criminals can deposit large sums of cash, purchase chips, gamble for a short period, and then cash out their winnings as legitimate earnings. The process is alarmingly simple. Dirty money enters the casino, is briefly used in gaming, and leaves as clean gambling winnings. In some cases, criminals don't even need to gamble significantly. They can simply exchange their cash for chips and then cash them out later, sometimes at different locations, making it nearly impossible to trace the original source of funds. Macau, the world's largest gambling hub, has long been a hotspot for money laundering. Junket operators, middlemen who bring in high-rolling gamblers, have been known to facilitate massive cross-border money transfers, often linked to criminal enterprises. In some cases, VIP rooms in Macau casinos have been used almost exclusively for laundering purposes, with the actual gambling being secondary to the primary goal, moving dirty money through the system. Shell companies are perhaps the most crucial tool in the money launderer's arsenal. These are businesses that exist only on paper, with no real employees, products, or services. Their sole purpose is to move money between different jurisdictions, making it harder for authorities to track. In tax havens like the Cayman Islands, the British Virgin Islands, and Switzerland, shell companies can be set up with minimal paperwork, no public disclosure of ownership, and complete anonymity. A criminal organization might route money through a series of these shell companies, moving funds between different bank accounts across multiple countries. Each transfer adds another layer of secrecy, making it nearly impossible to determine where the money originated. The infamous Russian laundromat scheme, uncovered in 2014, revealed that over $20 billion was laundered through shell companies operating in Moldova and Latvia, with the funds eventually landing in prestigious Western banks. Banks, too, have played a significant role, sometimes knowingly, sometimes through sheer negligence. In 2012, HSBC was fined $1.9 billion for facilitating money laundering by drug cartels, allowing billions of dollars in illicit funds to pass through its accounts with little oversight. More recently, leaked documents from the FinCEN files showed that some of the world's largest banks, including JP Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank, had processed trillions of dollars in suspicious transactions despite red flags indicating potential money laundering. Governments and financial watchdogs have attempted to crack down on money laundering through legislation like the U.S. Bank Secrecy Act and the European Union's anti-money laundering directives. However, enforcement is inconsistent, and the sheer complexity of laundering networks makes prosecution difficult. For every $1 billion seized, hundreds of billions continue to flow undetected through global financial systems. As technology advances, new methods of laundering money continue to emerge. Cryptocurrencies have become a new frontier for illicit finance, offering anonymity and decentralization. While Bitcoin transactions are recorded on a public ledger, criminals have turned to privacy coins like Monero, as well as techniques like chain hopping, where money is moved between multiple cryptocurrencies to obscure its origins. Online casinos, peer-to-peer trading platforms, and decentralized finance, DeFi, are also being exploited to move funds without oversight. Despite efforts to combat money laundering, the reality is that financial secrecy remains a cornerstone of the global economy. The same loopholes that allow criminals to wash billions also benefit the ultra-wealthy, multinational corporations, and political elites. The world's biggest banks, real estate firms, and law firms often play a complicit role, either by turning a blind eye or actively facilitating these schemes for a cut of the profits.